start with Levi, right to your left, Nate.
I promise there's a serious question coming on the back of this, but the first question is, Nate Lowe just revealed that you give him $100 every time he flips a ball to you to cover first base. Was that your idea? Where did that come from?
Yeah, more so mine. I mean, I feel like a lot of the times we come over there to cover the bag, and he wants to take it himself, and I'm like, I'm already over there, like, flip me the ball. And I had to make sure that he would do it.
Last year, I think pitching defense was not great for the Rangers. And I talked to Brad Miller earlier this year. He said from the very beginning of spring training, you showed up and you're like, here's a list of things that we need to change. Was that on the list, and how do you go about sort of implementing that as part of the culture?
I don't think that necessarily was on the list. I think that was more of Mike Maddox. I mean, he was just like, it's about the little things. You got to capitalize on all the little things to make sure that they don't become big things. And covering the bases, the little fundamentals, covering, bump plays, and making sure you're backing up the bases, doing your part essentially, prevents other things from happening. You're not backing up a bag and the ball gets overthrown. The runner comes around and turns into a run. So you want to control the little things that you can control. And I've been thankful enough to where I've been around a lot of really good organizations, and coming in here at the beginning, CY had made sure, like he said, hey, be vocal about what you see, like if there's any changes that need to be made, and I was vocal about it. I was trying to help out as much as I could, and some things I think helped, and maybe some others didn't, but we've been really successful this year, and I think we've done a really good job in controlling the little things that we can control on the base paths and the bump plays, and making sure that we're over there when we need to be.
Other questions for Nate? We'll go to Sean.
You guys have, I think, 4 or 5 starting pitchers in your bullpen now. I mean, how tough is it to make that adjustment for them, and what have you seen out of that group this postseason in their new roles, I guess?
That's why I always say starting pitching, it wins championships. If they're struggling in the rotation, they move to the bullpen. Now they become a long man. They can be efficient. I feel like when your arm's built up, 70, 80, 90 pitches, and you go to the bullpen, it's as if you're throwing a bullpen on that day. And, the adjustment is having to get ready to go back-to-back days, or having one day off and getting back into a game. But I feel like that mentality as a starting pitcher, you wait every 5 days until you're able to get back on the mound. And now being able to take the ball every 2 or 3 days, it's exciting as a starting pitcher. I experienced it in the postseason. I loved it. I had times in my career where I was sent to the bullpen because I was struggling in the rotation, and it helped me out a lot. It gets you into that attack mode mentality. You're not trying to go out there and go deep. You're just going after each batter that you face, and I think that's where some of the success comes back for the guys.
Kevin, about 6 rows back in the middle.
Nate. So Nate, can you speak directly about John Gray and how he's been able to do that, especially in this series, and just kind of been a wipeout?
Yeah, John's been unbelievable for us. All year I feel like he's kind of flown under the radar. He's had good outings, bad outings. I feel like he hasn't really got the run support this year to really put him up there. But I feel like he's got a rubber arm. The ball jumps out of his hand, and even in the bullpen sessions in between his starts, he would be letting it eat. He'd be 94, 97 in the bullpen, and a wipeout stuff with all of his pitches. So seeing him go into the bullpen, it's not a surprise to me of how much success that he's having. He has that attack mentality, and again, with those 2+ pitches, his fastball and slider, being able to command both of those and attack the guys. Anytime you're ahead of a hitter, you can get away with a few more pitches, I feel like. And, last night it was unbelievable what he was able to do for us. He came up big for us when we needed him the most, and covered 3 big innings and left them all out there.
Across from the last one in the back, Dave.
Nate, when you guys started the season, obviously the Rangers had put together what they thought was a great rotation to get him where you're going. It didn't unfold as planned. It took the front office, bringing in some reinforcements. What does it say about kind of just the journey and the work it takes for the organization as a whole just to make a starting rotation work and get you to this point?
It's very tough. I feel like if the teams that I've been on, if you've been able to keep your starting rotation healthy, then, you end up most of the time being in the postseason, I feel like. I think we came into the season with 7 starters, and then we picked up 2 more along the way, and having other guys step up in that role that were our long men out of the bullpen and coming back into the rotation. A few guys go down, but you're going to have to face a little bit of adversity in the season to have success, and I feel like that was one of our main things this year. Is we had a lot of key players, not even just pitchers, but a lot of guys step up when other guys went down and fill in their role nicely.
front to your right. Ron, we'll get you the microphone.
When you have consecutive starts against the same team, I think you've had it 3 times this year, do you go through and conscious of using different sequence, or do you just play to your strengths or combination?
I try to play to my strengths, but at the same time, I try to learn from my mistakes that I had. So, coming in this next start against these guys, I'll be pitching a little differently, but at the same time, just continue to use my strengths and attack their weaknesses.
Anything else for Nate? Am I missing anybody? All right, Nate, thanks so much.
Perfect.
Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
All right, we'll get started with Bochy, who's got the first question. We'll start with Evan on your right, Bochy.
Bruce, can you give us an update on Adolis Garcia and whether or not you envision him being able to help you guys any point in time the rest of the World Series?
Yeah, well, he's not playing tonight, obviously. You've seen the lineup. He did try to take some swings. He's been getting treatment. He does have a moderate strain of the oblique, so, that's never a good thing, to be honest. So right now he's on the table getting further evaluation. We have to make a call here pretty soon, so, it's unfortunate. But we'll wait and see in the next hour or so. We still have a little bit of time to, see where we're at with him and the possibility of him coming around. But we have to be honest. It's not great news.
Other questions? We'll go to Barry. We'll get on the microphone.
A couple for you, Bochy. Anything new on Scherzer?
Yeah, Max, I'll put in the same boat. He was pretty locked up when he walked in today. He's on the table getting looked at, trying to get loosened up some, but was not feeling well. So, again, we have to make a call on him, whether we're going to wait a day or two or if we feel like we're a little short and need a pitcher. So that will be decided within the next hour or so.
Could be replaced on the roster in the next hour or so?
Possibly, yes.
Okay, and then follow up on, I was looking at the record in your World Series, back Padres, Giants, you always had a full complement of starting pitchers. You never were in a situation like today where you're starting Heaney, who knows how long he's going to pitch, you're doing a bullpen game. You might have that in Game 7. How do you adjust to that, and do you like the turn in the game in that, or is it something that, you'd rather not have?
Well, if you ask me, I'd rather have 5 starters that go 7 or 8 innings. I think any manager would tell you that, but it's all about adjusting to what you have and where you're at. Now, with Andrew, he's not an opener, I will say. We can't tell you, how far he's going to go. That's determined by how things are going, but it's about getting creative, too, at times. Both sides are doing the same thing tonight, trying to get through it. We've been dealing with injuries, of course, Scherzer, but you look at Gray. And so anyway, we have the long guys. We have starters that can give us length today, and this thing continues to go. We feel like we have coverage.
Emily, 4th row on your left.
Like you said, not an ideal situation with Adolis, but do you feel like this team might be best equipped or better equipped than others to deal with something like this because of what you all have dealt with this season injury-wise?
Right. To your point, this team has dealt with it many times. It started early in the season. You go with DeGrom. We lost Corey Seager for a while. We've lost Doley, Jonah Heim. I could keep going there. And I can't say enough about the mental toughness of this club and the resilience that they have shown. They don't get down. There's no point in it. They understand you got to focus forward, and they've done that. This is, sure, it's not great news. You hate to lose your cleanup hitter, but it happened, and the only thing we can do is handle it in the right way, and this club has done that all year, and that's why I'm so proud of them.
Go up front with Pete.
Bruce, defensively, how impressed have you been with both clubs, especially turning ground balls and outs in this series? It seems like both teams playing at a pretty high level in that regard.
I agree with you. It's been really good baseball, great baseball on both sides. They're playing very well. We're playing very well. I appreciate how well the baseball's been in this series and the defensive plays that have been made. won a game for us last night. With Dolly's throw and Corey's play up the middle, and their side's playing very well too. So it's been good brand of baseball so far.
Do a few more standing in the back left. Hannah?
Bruce, just to clarify, you said something about like you would decide in the next hour or so if you were going to replace Dolly and Max on the roster. That's not a hard deadline. That's just because you want to have somebody else available tonight. If they're not available, what are the sort of factors that you're weighing in terms of if and when you would replace them on the roster?
Yeah, I guess the factors are, what is the chances of them being able to help us the rest of the series? That's what you have to look at. And, do you want to be shorthanded on the position player side or the pitching side? And you have to be honest. They're not easy decisions when you look at the two players we're talking about. One could be a starter in the last game, and the other ones are your cleanup hitters. So, out of respect to them too, hey, we're going to see if they do make improvement, next hour or so. But that's all that is. But we do have a little bit of time, so that's the only reason too why we haven't made that decision yet.
Dave, straight back in the middle.
Boch, with Travis filling in for Garcia in right field, what does he bring to the table now? He was more of an impact guy for you in the first half, with the speed. It's kind of a different look now with him being in there.
Yeah, Travis has had a really nice year for us in his role. He's done a tremendous job. Got pressed into a starting role there for a while when we had our injuries, and really picked us up when we needed it. Solid all around, smart player, good defender, speed. He's a guy that can handle the bat. He can bunt. He can, he does a good job putting the ball in play. All the little things you like, from a major league player. He's had a nice career, and he was a big pickup for us this year because we needed him.
The fifth row in the middle, we'll go to Barry.
Bruce, in a lot of ways, this season was defined by the pitch clock and the game speeding up a little bit. I wonder, as a manager in these postseason games, when you're trying to slow everything down, does it get fast because things are moving, or are you able to keep it at a good pace in terms of decision making?
I love the pace of the game right now. To be honest, I enjoy how it's been going. As far as baseball in general during the season, and it's what I'm used to. So no, I don't think it's now. There's times I don't think it's gone too fast. There's times when we think we need to slow it down for maybe the pitcher, and with the timeouts or step offs or whatever. But as far as my end, no, I love the pace that we're playing with.
Go to Evan back on your right.
Bruce, can you talk a little bit to the idea of how you weigh the situation in terms of what you did in right field? You have Grossman, who started a lot for you as a DH and in the outfield. He's kind of more of an offensive guy, and you've got Jankowski, who's got the speed and the defense. How did you weigh those two factors to come to the idea that Jankowski would be the guy to go with?
I'd say more than anything, Jankowski he's such a good defender. They're going to be using everybody out there, so it's it's hard to pick the matchup you want on the starter in a game like tonight. So I guess that probably weighed as heavily as anything is. They're going to see different pitchers. Right now we're going with our best defense out there, and we'll just as the game goes with the matchups, who's on base, things like that, pinch hitting. Again, wait and see what's going to happen with Garcia, with the possible change could have another player.
Third row on your left.
Boch, Josh Young moves up in your lineup tonight. We've seen him battle through the thumb issue, put up good numbers still in this postseason. What do you like that you're seeing from him at the plate, and what kind of support does he provide to the top of your lineup?
Yeah, well, that's his normal spot. That's where he's hit for the most part this year. So putting him in a familiar area, so I know there's a sense of comfort for him there. But when you don't have one of your guys in there, your cleanup hitter, there's always going to be adjustments in the lineup, which is what we have done. And so I decided to go ahead, let's put him back in a 5-hole. And, Jankowski, who has not been playing a lot, he just goes at the back end of the lineup, and I just slid the rest of them down.
Take two last ones. Jared standing on your left.
First, going back to your defense, I mean, you guys made like 55 errors all season long. So I'm just curious, like, how much of an impact you think that made in you guys getting here, like the quality of your defense all year long?
It's made a tremendous impact. I mean, when you look at our club, a lot is talked about, you know, the hitting, the slug, the run scored, but our defense has shown up every day. That's what I love about these guys. They have separated the two and kept their focus out there. You know, the hitting, pitching, it's going to come and go, but the defense needs to show up every day. And both teams have, you know, had really good years defensively, and consequently, both are here. So I think it has played a role for us in getting here, because last thing you want to do is, you know, is make mistakes out there and give up runs you shouldn't, cost the pitchers more pitches, and these guys have done a nice job. The coaching staff has done a tremendous job of, you know, working with them and making sure they keep that focus out there defensively.
I'll finish up with Jared on
Coach,
your
what
left.
are some of the challenges when you're facing a bullpen game with the decisions you have to make in the lineup, batting order, starting Jankowski or Grossman, and just as you envision the game playing out, how much more challenging is it when it's this game versus facing a Merrill Kelly or Zach Gallen?
Yeah. And a little bit, I guess, in the fact that you're trying to balance it out as much as you can, because they're going to mix up, you know, mix and match over there. You know that, you know, with putting 2 or 3 lefties together or 2 or 3 right-handers together. And so, you know, especially when you have an injury, I mean, you're going to keep your regular guys where they're at. But when someone like Garcia's not in the lineup, it brings on a little bit more of a challenge to make sure we balance it out. And that's why I did move a couple guys quite a bit, like Josh Young. So, you know, we could split the lefty-righties up tonight.
Bochy, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.